The final hour of work at the bar is called the witching hour. And the hour after that is the bitching hour. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about all things service industry, and then we bitch about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Michael, aka Rickshaw, and today we're starting a new podcast, and we're gonna put it out on everything. I have another podcast, and it's all about nerdy stuff. And so I work in the service industry, and lately me and some of the Icy Boys,
That's right.
which is some of the fellas that I work with, have started talking about what it's like. We talk about being in the service industry. I used to work here. I used to do that. I had this shitty coworker at this one point in time, blah, 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 blah. You know how it goes if you've been part of the service industry. But we're starting this called the bitching hour, okay? The last hour of work is the witching hour, and then the hour after close is the bitching hour. You know what I mean? Because we all have shit to say when we start sweeping the floor, when we start wiping down the counters. We're like, bro, did you talk to the bitch at table 13? What was this bitch's problem?
Am I the only one that saw that?
Yes. But anyways, yes, thank you for joining us. And I hope, like everybody that loves stuff like this, especially if you're in the industry, that's like the people we're going to be talking to, when we're doing shit like this. But, I've already done my intro. You guys go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Jorge, and I work with Michael.
Simple, straight to the
Very
point.
good.
I like
Yes,
it.
go ahead.
And we're here to bitch about everything about service industry.
Right.
About customers, employees, cooks, everything.
And
So,
I'm 30. Actually, it's my birthday right now, but I'm
It is
yes.
Wednesday
Happy
now.
birthday, Icy
Yeah,
boy.
thanks,
Icy.
man. But I am 38, and I've been in the service industry a long time. Jorge.
And I'm 55, and I'm the grandfather
Yes.
of the service
Yeah,
industry.
so
I've been
you,
doing this since I was 18 years old.
So you
and
got
I'm
all the
still here.
stories,
I got lots of
especially from the
stories.
80s and shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
From the good old days.
This man looks like he's fresh off the 30 boat. So he's
Oh,
found
yeah.
the fountain of youth.
Oh, yeah.
I wish.
He has wisdom beyond our years.
But yeah, also is...
I'm Mitch. Been in the service industry since pretty much high school. I mean, I was a server for a long time. Then I was in banking, so I've dealt with people's money and their food. I've dealt with people's money in their bank. And
Dude, I could only imagine people
Yeah.
bitching about their money.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
you can
Versus
imagine.
their food or
So-
their drinks.
So I went out of the service industry or out of food industry and then went into banking. And I was like, and when I was in my interview, I was like, yeah, I kind of want to get out of like the food industry and like dealing with people who get upset and stuff. And literally the guy who was hiring me was like, this is banking, right? He's
Yeah.
like, you deal with people's money. He's like, they're worse.
Yeah.
And they are in different ways. It's two different types of like people pissed off about their money.
Yeah, but there's not there was federally regulated, so you can't have someone say, "Well, I don't like
That
the
was
way that
the
you
best.
deposited this, so
100%.
or the way you
Yeah.
withdrew this, so I want my money
Yep.
back."
That's
you know?
that is the biggest difference with food industry compared to bank. Is like food industry, when you want to do something a certain way, they're like, I don't know why you're doing that. But in the bank, if you do it a certain way and they're pissed off, you just
That's the way
the
it's
golden line.
Yeah.
Federal regulation mandates that I do blank, and they're like, all right, fair enough.
Right. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, I will shut up now.
That's where in the service industry, it's just like, I'm going to bitch until I get free stuff. And then it's like,
There are those people.
the guy at the top is like, just give them what they want. Get them the fuck out of here, dude.
You
But
can't
yeah.
please everybody. That's for goddamn sure.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I would guess I would consider it the service industry as like my first job when I was like 15 when I lived in Kansas. I was a cook. Okay, so that's not really service industry, but I only got paid like $4 an hour. And the reason that you could get paid $4 an hour at that place was because you could receive tips
As a cook,
as a cook in the kitchen. So they just were just like, what bullshit can we tell everybody to pay these kids way less than we,
Yeah, you
after
probably
or
got tipped
whatever.
out what, like 2% of like the
No,
service
we didn't.
tabs
No,
and shit.
no, we didn't get tipped out.
You didn't get tipped out.
Like their total excuse.
What kind of OSHA violation place were you working at? dude?
There's no OSHA in the service industry. There's no
whatever it
HR
is,
Well,
in service
you know,
Child
it-
labor
it
laws
was-
is bullshit.
Yeah, it was in the middle of Kansas, so it was like you could get your like farmer's permit to drive at a certain age. So then with that came other things that were complete bullshit. And the only thing that they fed us was you got your driver's license early so you could drive to work, but you're not of the regular age. And you can receive tips in the kitchen as a cook, so $4 an hour is your rate.
I still think that's funny that like some kid going through high school is like looking forward to when they get their farmer's permit.
Yeah,
I mean, that's,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
oh boy,
So yeah,
You drove a tractor to work?
sounds like a gold
I mean,
star.
I didn't drive. Did you say drive a tractor?
It'd be a
Well,
tractor.
that was your
yeah.
farmer's permit.
I didn't. Technically,
He didn't
I didn't
get his
have
farmer's
because you
permit.
could. Your farmer's permit was like a way earlier too. You could get it at like 15 or some shit. But I was like, I think I was 16 whenever I started there. So, but still, you're not supposed to have a job when you're 16, right? Like,
No, I mean, I
like
might
at a
was
fucking
16, was it?
restaurant or something.
No, well, you
like,
could.
what was it?
So in Colorado, you could get your worker's permit at 15. At that point, you could do jobs, but only part time.
Right.
I had a paper route, so like it wasn't like
Okay.
anything. I just got paid on.
See,
like,
I didn't have
how
like
many
a
days.
permit to work.
I'm
early.
back from like the 70s.
Yeah, so
like,
he got- he got-
yeah, we forget
he
about
got paid
this.
in-
Yeah,
he
so
got
back
paid a
then
nickel.
there were no guidelines. You
Right.
could ride on, you could smoke in your car, you could drink a beer while you were sitting next to a cop,
Yeah.
and it was you're responsible for your own actions.
Well,
I
I mean,
got paid a whole
now-
nickel a day.
dude, I'm
Yeah, you
interested
did.
to
That was
hear
big
like
money.
what was your first job then?
Yeah, absolutely.
What mowing lawns?
Mowing lawns.
Yeah,
For how much?
we're doing it for like $30 a lawn.
Back in what, the 70s?
Like 79, 80.
What kind of luxury lawns were you doing? I did $40 a lawn when I was.
It was mowing and weeding, and my best friend his father had a hair salon for a bunch of old ladies. And we were
Boca
just
Raton
mowing.
or some shit.
Yeah, we were just mowing. We're going to mow the grass, and back then,
Well, okay, so
You were
then what-
living large off $30 in the 70s.
Yeah, so then, what was your first service industry job?
dishwashing at Gasoline Alley.
Oh,
in El
nice.
Paso, Texas.
And how old were you then? And what year was that?
I was 16 when I first started there, almost 17. Then 17 and a half is when I started like washing bar backing.
Right. And what year was that?
82.
82, the year before I was born. I was
That was
just-
83.
Oh,
83. It was the year I was born. So I was just a fucking
Decade
I was-
before I was
you
even
were
a
just-
sperm
you were
in the
swimming.
sack.
I was just a splat.
You were a swimmer.
I wasn't even a
Good
twinkle
thing
in
you
the eye.
didn't. Good thing you didn't drown, Michael. Good thing
It's
you didn't drown.
insane for this guy to
You
tell
wouldn't
us
be
stories
here.
though. He'll be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, in the '79, I was doing it." Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you, Mitch?
I mean, besides the whole decade before I was even like conceived.
no. What about
First service industry
what
job.
was your first job or first service
well,
industry job?
I mean, I had the paper route. I was a hustler.
Right.
I wanted the money.
Yeah.
I had paper route, and then I mowed lawns for $40 an hour. Apparently, I didn't know how to do the markup because this man was making 30.
Well, we didn't do
a
it by the
lawn.
hour. We just did it per lawn.
That's what I did. I did 30 per lawn, and I mean I did 40 per lawn. But anyway, I thought I was still living large. Apparently not.
Did you weed eat and stuff?
Oh yeah, I did the weed. Ate, picked up dog poop and everything. Gave me water bowl. He was an ex-Green Beret. Wrote up a whole contract when I was 14. It was legit. He's like, damn, this guy knows business. This guy's seen some shit.
Was this
He's-
one guy?
It was a dude and his wife. Well, he did the first one, and I was like, this is how I'm gonna run my business. And then I got 2 other lawns. And anyway, it was me and a buddy who were doing it. This is a whole nother story, but me and a buddy were doing it, and he ended up stealing the
push
other
your
2
mower?
lawns. Yeah,
mower
it's
down
push
the
one.
street?
Yeah, it
On
wasn't
the
an
sidewalk?
automated one. I was a little like 80-pound
No,
kid
but I
pushing
mean, like
lawn.
from house to house, you just push your mower to the house you're gonna mow, and
Yeah, it was
that's
just in
what
our
we
like
did.
community. We had like we had a little smaller community. It wasn't like here where there's like 200 houses. It was the new one, so it was only 40 houses. So it was just 2 of us.
Yeah,
But-
we had like a 2 mile little area that we would just push our lawnmowers and mow.
Yeah. So I mean, I had that, and then I had the paper route, and then what did I do after that? I mean, my first service industry was White Fence Farm in Colorado, in Lakewood. It's kind of like a really fancy Golden Corral. It had like a petting zoo and everything. It was really great.
Right.
It's down now because the new owner kind of bled it dry. He was cash.
But yeah, so that was like your first face to face with customers having to be nice. And
yeah,
shit
I was
like
a busser. I was a bus boy, and then I worked in the kitchen, and then I was in carry out, and then I was a line cook, and then I was a server. So I did like everything, and like the kitchen was the fun part because like we would just fucking shoot the shit all day and just literally sit in a hole and just get soaking wet and just spray dishes and just
when I dishwashed it was terrible. The dishwasher, the cook one night I washed the dishes and we put the plate stack up and we had flies, so he swatted a fly on the plate and he goes, "So who's gonna get the fly?" And he picked the plate up and he stuck it like 10 plates down and all night long. He was going, "Who's gonna get the fly?" And I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is going on right now?"
Dude, I want to say that things have changed nowadays,
and
but
when it happened, when it happened, he goes, "There goes the fly," and he put the refried beans right on top of the fly.
My God.
Well,
where I was at, like,
or something like that, but yeah.
Where I was at, it was family style. So like you would get a just stack of chicken or mashed potatoes, and then you would hand them a clean plate. Yeah. And so like if it was wet,
so like
game over. Like literally you had to we had to put it under the fan and let it completely dry because literally like you would hear people on the cook's line and they're like, "Oh, wet plates." And then if you're in the hole, you're like, "Get a fucking paper towel, asshole."
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I had a lot of. I really didn't touch face to face, like service industry stuff, okay, so I grew up in a small town in Kansas, and it was like DQ, Dairy Queen. That was my first job that I was talking about.
Thank you for clarifying DQ, because I had no idea what that was. That was obviously before my time.
Texas stop sign, but it was in Kansas, But anyways, and they, for some reason, paid us fucking bullshit and said we could get tips even though we worked in the kitchen. So
the occasional dollar.
They also had a Pizza Hut, which I upgraded to Pizza Hut. And then there was a place called Three Geese, which was like a local restaurant that nobody fucking cared about. But anyways, I was the dishwasher there for a while. So I know how, at that point in time, I knew how it operated, fucking talking shit in the back. I remember one time that I literally was just like me and this girl that I used to see there were like in the back fucking making fun of something and we were making gagging noises. We're like, "Yeah, that bitch was out there like," and then the owner came in and was like, "Dude, this is a restaurant."
Dude,
and we're like, "What?" And he's like, "You think people want to hear fucking gagging noises coming from back here?" And we were like, "Dude, sorry."
That's funny because I did the same thing in the hole. Me and a buddy of mine, we would just make sex noises in the hole. We'd just be like, when somebody would hand us like a bus tub full of dishes, we're like, "Oh yeah!" And then literally like one of my buddies who was a server came up and he's like, "Dude, can you keep it down? Like, my tables are curious why sex noises are coming from the kitchen."
All the old ladies.
And I like didn't give a shit. And the funny thing is, there was a flip side. When I became a server and you could like hear people yelling in the kitchen and like the tables, then I was the one going back to like, "Guys, can you keep it down?" And literally like the guy that I used to wash dishes with was like, "You hypocritical fuck. Like, you were the one doing this with me."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, fair enough."
Because obviously you never fucking think about how the people out front are like, you're affecting their money. And you know what I mean?
When you're in the kitchen, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
you're just
exactly.
literally just cleaning dishes.
And to this day, I forget about that shit, because you go back there and you're like, "Dude, you fucking dropped the fries off at this table. You didn't even ask if it was theirs. They started eating it. You fucked up my whole shit. Now I have to fucking wait for more fries to come out over here." And they're just like, "So?"
They're like, "You should have put the right table number on."
I gave more fries.
Well, Presley doesn't even. I don't think he can even spell his name. So
Presley.
I mean, he's
Yeah,
one that doesn't even
I
give
thought it
a
was
shit.
Priscilla. But,
Oh, is it Priscilla?
I guess.
Okay,
So-
I don't know. I thought he spelled it Presley, but maybe it was Priscilla.
So one thing that
Tweedledum.
we're gonna do on this podcast, I'm gonna name every place that I've worked in the past, and I'll probably name people by name that I worked with, but like it's weird to bring it up the place where we work now.
Yes.
So and it's awfully slander for certain scenarios to talk about. So we're gonna not talk about where we work, but if we ever give you some stories, we have changed the names to protect the innocent.
The identities, yes. To keep the anonymity.
The innocent or the guilty or the stupid.
The guilty. The extremely stupid.
But yeah, where should we go with next on that
I'd
one?
love to start with the dry rub story.
Yeah, let's just start.
Okay.
We're this is going to be an intro to the whole show, and we're going to break it down by like subcategories.
Yes.
But right now, we're just going to kind of talk about why we want to bitch about this shit.
Exactly. Assuming that most people who listen to this are in the service industry and are listening are like, Yeah, I get that. For those
Yeah.
who aren't in the service industry and want to learn how to treat people in the service industry, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
So if you go to some place where you've been there a bunch, don't tell the people that you know how it works.
Yeah.
They work
Yeah.
at that place. They know how it works. So anyway,
Yeah.
so
they're deep in the heart of it.
yes, exactly. and especially when it comes shit changes, okay? You know,
Yeah.
life is full of changes.
Right.
So when stuff happens, don't say, "Well, I had this last time," because guess what? Life changes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
And don't look at your phone all the time and say, well, the menu says this because life happens.
Guess what?
And
That's the other
menus
location,
change.
son.
Her menus change.
yes, what about the menu in front of you? No, I like the one on my phone. That's completely wrong, dumbass.
Yeah. Wrong location, motherfucker.
Anyway, so these two ladies came in. I'm assuming lesbian because they said that they lived together and they lived around the corner and one looked the part.
Right.
Anyway, so they come in and they start the transaction with, "Hey, sweet cheeks," which I'm not
Yeah.
sweet cheeks.
Right.
I just don't like that. Like, it's
Right.
you work in the service industry. Respect the people who work there. Like, a lot of people who work in the service industry are either A, not there by chance, or B, because they're trying to make something happen.
Right.
You know, like,
Also, I hate when my aunt does it.
yeah.
So don't do it.
Exactly. And you're not my mother.
I hate that bitch too.
Yeah, not my mother. So don't call me sweet cheeks. Anyway, so they start with the sweet
Okay,
cheeks.
I'm not from Kansas, so my aunts never called me sweet cheeks.
They call you. They call you papi.
Call me Papi Grande.
They call you papi grande.
Because you're a hot piece of ass.
They call you Tortuga in his pants. Anyway, so these two ladies came in, and before anything happened, they were like, "Yeah, we would like to get 10 wings with the dry rub." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that, but unfortunately, we don't have a dry rub."
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like we were just talking about a menu. Like we have two locations; they're very close to each other. So
The other location.
the other
location.
location has a much larger kitchen and can do a lot more than we can do.
Right.
Anyway, so being nice, I'm like, "I'm sorry. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we don't have the dry rub." They're like, "We live around the corner. We've been here a bunch. We know what you have."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh well, we have it's the Korean barbecue. We have a Korean barbecue, which is similar to a dry rub, but it's not actually a dry rub. Is that the one you talk about?" "No, it's the dry rub." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that." They're like, "We would like a menu, please." So of course I drop off a menu, like a nice server. I drop off the menu and they look at it and they go, "Oh, I guess you don't have the dry rub anymore." Yes, I work here and I
Yeah.
told you this. We never had a dry rub.
Right.
So anyway, so they get the wings, which obviously the Korean barbecue was what they wanted. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a dry rub. It was, "Oh, this is exactly what we got before." Yes, I told you that. So we did that, and then anyway, then they proceeded to just follow all the rest of their dinner with pissing me off.
Right.
With, "Hey, can I get this beer?" And they would name it something completely different. Which, the moral of the story is, treat your server nicely because A, they're the ones that actually work there and know what they're talking about, and
Yeah.
if you say something different, it just pisses them off.
Well, it's unreal to me that like, and like if you've never been in the service industry, people don't know that this happens. But like, dude, you could serve 20 tables. Like, hey, how many tables you got? 20.
Yep.
How are they doing? All of them are fine except for this one table is breaking me down. You know what I mean? And it's just
Breaking
like,
my
what do you
balls.
mean?
Yes.
What do you mean breaking you down? Well, they keep sending me up and down the stairs of the BG. I'm going up and down, up and down. Hey, I need a menu. Would you like both menus? Would you like a food menu and a drink menu?
Yes.
No.
Be specific.
No, I'll have a drink menu. Okay. I'll grab the drink menu. You get back down and
I'm
they go,
kind of hungry.
"Actually, I am pretty hungry." Okay, let me go get the food menu. Do you need any other menu? Do you need a cocktail menu maybe? No. I don't need a cocktail menu. I'm definitely 100% not having a cocktail. Okay, well, I'll go get it. Come back. Here you go. Here's the food menu. So
Do you
don't
guys
be
not-
mad.
Do you not serve cocktails? I literally asked you this.
Yeah. So it's like, out of 20 tables, 19 of them are just like, "Yeah, you're doing great, dude. Get out of my face. Like quit checking on me so much. It's going to be fine. I'm going to tip you fat." And then the one table is just kicking in the sack every fucking time you come back there. It's like, Jesus Christ, who are these fuckers? And then they're like, at the end, they're like, "You know what? The service really wasn't as great as I wanted, but I'm still going to do a really good tip for you."
Don't tell me that.
And then it's terrible.
Well, when they
So it's
say,
like-
They're like,
when they say we're gonna
12%.
leave you a great tip, they're not.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When,
So-
yeah.
Did I tell? Oh, speaking of tips, have you guys ever gotten some other than like a monetary tip as a tip?
What do you mean?
Just like in general, like have you been? So I was ordained.
Oh, okay.
Essentially.
Okay.
So like White Fence Farm, where I used to work, was one of the huge crowds was on Sunday. I don't know. I'll drop the name.
Right,
The
right.
place is closed now.
Right,
I don't
right.
know.
I mean, I'll drop my old school places that I work.
I hope this lady hears me. I really do.
Yeah, yeah.
So like Sunday was our big crowd, and this lady came in, and she was like, "So what are you doing with your life?" And I told her, I was like, "Well, I'm 18 and I am in college trying to do blank." And she was like, "Okay, well, take a knee."
So take it.
Literally, I had to take a knee, and she put her hand on my forearm and was like, "Pray with me." I was like, "All right, here we go." And she was like, and then went on a full like 2-minute prayer of how like I hope everything comes to you and blah 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 blah. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, she's not gonna tip me whatsoever. I was like, she literally just gave me her tip with words.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing. It was her and 8 other people, and it was auto gratuity. And you know what? And it was auto gratuity on 8 people. And she was like, "Don't put auto gratuity on. I'll take care of you. $5. $5 on."
Well, dude,
her
what
tab.
do you expect? Like, let's just say that she was a magician, which is comparable.
On top of that, she left me one of those little baby Bibles. She left me a baby Bible, and she was like, "Here you go."
Yeah, like if
Gee, thanks, Jesus.
If a magician came up to you and showed you a trick, they're not tipping you. You know what I mean? like you're
That's
getting a
fascinating.
service. You're getting a service, okay? God, magic, all of that.
The fact of how weird it was, and literally other tables were like, "Did she just bless you?"
Yeah.
And I literally had to like shake my head because like the
Right.
tables were super close to each other, and I was like, totally
Right.
did.
Did she
And
throw
they
holy
literally,
water?
oh no, it was just really fucking awkward. She literally like
So fucked up.
She like closed her eyes and like full blown prayed, and I'm like looking around like,
What
this
about
is
this?
really
What about
fucking
this? Have you
awkward.
ever gotten a tip that it looks like money, and then you fold it out?
Yeah.
and it's like
oh my god,
a little prayer
the
thing.
fake bill. Yeah, I've gotten that. I've gotten a handful of times. Have you ever
You
gotten
never
that,
got
Maureen?
that?
No.
Or-
Oh my god! So it's literally it's
But
it's
I had a woman.
folded, like,
I had a
20.
woman tell me that you're so troubled that you need to go to a church and take roses and read this prayer. Put it down at the base of the church, at the base of the altar, and read this prayer. And I don't remember what the prayer said. I was like, really? Why am I so troubled?
So you were serving her.
I was serving her, and she
And
goes, "You're so
she-
troubled. I feel you're so troubled in your life." I was like, "Why am I so troubled?" She goes, "I just feel like you have trouble in your life." I was like, "Okay, thank you."
Like, did you give great service?
I always give great service.
So what? I mean, we've talked about some of the places that we've worked. What about come on, dude. Give us something.
Divulge. Give us the nitty
What's
gritty.
what's the fucking shittiest place you've ever worked where
The
you were face to
shittiest
face
place
with
I've ever
all
worked.
with all the customers, dude?
Oh my god.
I mean, you're the
The shittiest place I ever worked was face to face with the owner.
Oh yeah. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
know. We know.
But you don't have to say where, but you could tell stories if you
But
want.
he's a
Yeah.
puto.
Yes.
I mean, we all
The
hate.
not Paquito tree limb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was just a rude man and a abuseful man. And it's not that kind of relationship that I want to be in.
Yeah.
And
So I mean, I worked a lot of jobs, but it was really Applebee's, Gainesville, Texas, where I got my first taste of serving tables. Because guess
old
what?
stomping
Whenever I worked in Kansas, I was a cook at Applebee's for 3 days. I was in 3 days of training, and I was like, nah, this shit ain't gonna work for me, dude. I'm greasy as a motherfucker. I
Yep.
smell like shit. I've been here for way too long. And then, like, even during training, they're like, you're leaving at 8 p.m. So, like, every day of training, you're only gonna be here till 8 p.m. And then, like, the 3 days I was there, it was like, actually, you're staying till close. Here, take this out back and spray it down. Here, take this. You know what I mean? And it was like, y'all told me 8 p.m. every day, and now I'm closing every fucking day. You know what I mean? And that was
Yep.
like, before I was like knew what I was doing. So it was just like there was a point in time where I was like, nah, dog, I'm gonna have to quit. And then I met someone that because one of my homies was like, hey, go to a movie with us. It's gonna be at midnight. And I was like, at midnight? And he was like, yeah, come out here to this movie with us and just chill. And we, and we allegedly were like smoking pot on the roof and stuff. And then the owner was just like, hey, do you need a job? And I was like, fuck yeah, I need a job. So then I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not working at Applebee's in the kitchen sweating my fucking balls off. But when the time came and I moved to Texas, I did get a job at Applebee's in the front of house, and it was a whole different story. And, at Applebee's, it's all about quantity of tables you could take, not quality. You know what I mean? It's just like, here, take this. Here's your burger. Fucking eat it.
Right. You got a big section, you just ran your big section. And
Yeah.
that's what you did.
Well, that's the difference between like if they're based off of food or they're based off of drinks. Like if you work at a bar like we do, like
Right.
you want to be funneling those drinks super fast.
Right.
So like you want to only have like maybe 5 tables so you can just constantly get those drinks out.
Right.
But like when I was a server, once they get their entree, you're done. At
Right.
that point, like maybe a drink refill.
Right.
So I mean, you could have. I mean, I've had like 15. I did a party of 40 by myself when I was a server because like once they get their food, they're Gucci.
Right.
Like you don't have to do
Unless
anything
they're
after that.
unless they're
Food
like
and drinks.
Pentecostals or something.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, they're like, yeah, literally, you go out, you hand them a ketchup, and they're like, can I actually get ranch too? It's like, let's consolidate some of this.
Dude, those Pentecostals fucking kicked me in the sack every time they would come in. North Texas, what's up?
Is that like the Mennonites?
So
What's a Pentecostal?
Pentecostal, the ladies wore the dresses. The ladies always had long hair.
Wait, ladies are supposed to wear the dresses? This is news to me.
No, you're
once
talking
again,
about the
Kansas.
modern era.
Once again, Kansas.
Hey, modern era. It's your business what you do on a Saturday night. You know, no one's looking. You know what I'm saying?
I grew up in a border town. There were no Pentecostals. I don't think they would have got their
How
asses
do you even
kicked.
spell Pentecostal?
They would come in like by the group of like 20 to 30 at a time, and then they would leave like maybe a 5% tip. And then there's times where like even the 14-year-old girls in the group would be like, "Can I get some water?" And you would go and check on another table and then head straight for the water at the little service stand.
These guys. Okay.
And the little girls would be over there grabbing the shit like they had just gotten mad in the 4 seconds
Yo,
when
look
they
at
asked
this.
you for water.
Look at this picture on Google of the Pentecostals, and they're like worshiping a snake.
Yeah, yeah. That's I mean, I didn't know any
This
about any of
is
the.
not a bad talking Pentecostal. I'm learning from Google. So
Right.
This might not be.
This was in
Actually, how it
North Texas, in Gainesville. So it was just
Holy
like
shit.
that is. I mean, it could be very well possible that they did
Northeast.
Looks like
rattlesnake
This
shit.
looks like some M Night Shyamalan Village.
Right.
Shit.
Oh, it was every time they came in.
Absurd.
I was living that M Night Shyamalan
Well, this
movie.
is still different from like the Mennonites. You know, the ones that like only wear earth tones.
Uh-huh.
They're basically like Amish that live in today's day and age, but only wear earth tones and like don't talk to anybody but themselves.
Right.
They would always come in and like literally like I would hear a total of like 15 words when I would serve them.
Yeah.
And like it would only be from the father. Like the mother and the kids, don't you say a goddamn word when we're in public. Like literally it was a comment, be like, oh, can we get something? That they will take 3 lemonades and 2 Cokes. And it's like, oh, you guys doing okay? Yes, we're doing fine.
Yeah.
So do Pentecostals have like their own church and their own?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's
there definitely wasn't a Pentecostal church in El Paso.
I mean, maybe it's like on
the border town.
from my extensive research on Google for the last 20 seconds.
Well, I'm talking about back in the 70s and 80s.
looks-
Remember, we're talking about 70s and 80s.
I don't know. Like at
Probably
the,
wasn't even
at the
a thing back
time,
then.
whenever it started happening, when I was at Applebee's, I had no fucking clue. You know what I
Afro
mean?
Pentecostalism. This is amazing. Black Pentecostal charismatic Christianity history and culture. All right, Google has led me astray.
Applebee's was the starting point of what was the rest of my life, apparently, because I've never been able to escape.
Isn't that the truth of Apple?
Oh, that is for sure. Trust me, you get sucked in that business, it's hard to get out.
No matter what I've done, it was like there was a point in time where I was like, I'm in a successful band playing shows on the other side of the world, and then 5 years later, I'm like,
sucked you back in.
I'm at a bar again, working. You know what? One thing I have to say, I don't know what direction we're headed in with this podcast as of this point, but I mean, one thing I have to say is, dude, why do people just fucking eat the food that's put right in front of them?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was at work I think it was yesterday. Yeah, Monday was yesterday. Anyways, I was at work. I have a table come up to the bar. They order some fried pickles. They go to the beer garden, right? I have another table that walks in. 2 girls. They sit at the bar, same spot. And then they drop fried pickles over there because that's where the last people were to order them, right? The girls, before they even talk to me, before they talk to anyone, the first thing that happened, they just start eating the
of
fried
course.
pickles.
They're like,
and I'm
ooh,
like,
complimentary.
They thought they thought, hey, we got a present.
yeah, yeah. And I'm like,
Someone
okay.
bought us
So then I'm
something.
like, okay, I'm not going to say anything, but, I'm going to throw fried pickles on their tab.
I would've yeah, I
You know
would
what I
charge them
mean?
for fried
Like,
pickles.
okay, so then when I end up talking to them, I get their drinks, and then they're like, hey, can we get some loaded fries, right? And so I'm like,
Should have
okay.
given it to the dudes.
Wait,
So
how old were these girls?
they were like maybe early early 30s, maybe late 20s. You know what I mean? So then,
So participation trophy time, maybe. So
Yeah.
they just thought, hey, we're here. They're giving
Yeah.
us free pickles. We
I-
got free trophies, even though
my
we
God.
sucked in sports. So,
but
I mean,
okay. So then I'm like, okay, loaded fries. You want loaded fries? Okay. So then I throw on their ticket loaded fries and fried pickles. Highlight fried pickles. People in Beer Garden need fried pickles because they had finally figured out what's going on back there. I was just like, what happened? And they're like, oh, we just dropped them off. I don't know. Okay. So then I order loaded fries and then fried pickles.
wait, was it
for the-
Presley? Was Presley the one running the food? that
well,
day?
it was
I always, no matter what.
it
you
was
put,
Brian.
whatever you put on. Anytime I have to put anything other than like the button, like if I have to special request anything, I always go to the kitchen and tell them exactly what I mean.
Right.
Because it's
'Cause
literally
they suck
it's
at
well,
fucking-
well,
yeah.
it's they just see sausage flatbread and they only bring out sausage flatbread,
Yeah.
and it's like they don't see the note that says add
Right.
pepperoni or add chicken or
I
whatever.
mean, I
Come on.
slip up when I'm making
100%.
drinks.
Absolutely.
But I mean, damn,
Slammed as fuck.
every time though. You know what I mean?
It's literally.
But
I do it
anyways.
every time, and like no matter, even if it's like, hey, they want 2 sides of ranch,
Right.
And you can put extra sides
So
of ranch.
this is where the story ends, though. So here's what happens: I say loaded fries and fried pickles because these people in the Beer Garden originally ordered it, so I need them to go there, right?
Yeah.
And I put that on the ticket. I put people in Beer Garden, BG1 needs fried pickles because whatever. So I ring it in, right? So then the loaded fries start taking a long time. I'm like, what's going on? So
They
then
brought
I
them to
go
BG.
down there. Guess what? They drop the fried pickles off with the people in the Beer Garden and the loaded fries. And then the people in the Beer Garden just started eating them. And
My
I was
God.
like, so I went to Brian and I was like, okay, I get that sometimes people just say yes to whatever you say to them, but have you been asking if these are actually for these people? And he's like, yeah. I said, do you have fried pickles? And then they say yes. And I'm like, why? So then whenever I went up to the, back up to the bar, I was like, sorry that your loaded fries are going to take a while, but I'm going to be honest. You started eating the fried pickles that was for a table out there. So then when I rang in your loaded fries, I rang in fried pickles to deliver to those people because you were eating them. And then they started eating your loaded fries. So I was like, I'm becoming a little frustrated because everyone involved in this is just eating food for no
Yes.
reason. And they were like, we're so sorry, we'll pay for it. And I was like, I already knew that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You are going to
already
pay for it.
charged.
You are going to pay for it.
Yeah. So yeah, why? Like I've been a lot of places and a lot of restaurants, but if somebody is like, "Do you have this?" I'm not always just like, "Oh yeah."
What's ours?
I've had plenty of times where people come up to and be like, "Hey, did you guys have this?" And be like, "No, we
Yeah.
didn't."
Yeah.
because I didn't order that.
Yeah,
I've never
right.
been somewhere where they were like, "Hey, do you have this?" And like, I didn't order anything, but I kind of want that. Yes, it's mine.
Unless it's a bucket of like peanuts,
Yeah,
because that happens places.
I'm sure those girls were just so giddy.
How many times you go through a drive-through, you get home, it's like, this isn't my fucking order.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But you already paid for it, and then you're pissed off. But when you think you're getting free food, you're like, oh, yeah, we'll eat it.
Yeah.
sure.
They were like,
Yeah.
"Wow, this place is amazing. They give you complimentary fried pickles when,
When
you
I-
walk in the
Yeah.
door."
They said
Yeah.
that. They literally said, "Oh, we just thought there was like extra or something, and you were just handing them off to the first people." Like,
What
when
makes
does
you
that
so
happen?
special?
When does that happen though in a restaurant? Like,
Of course, they would think
even-
that like we are special enough for
Yeah.
those extra pickles.
even whenever there is extra food, you don't go, "Hey, the next people that walk in that
So-
door, give them that food." No, you go,
I
"Hey,
go back
homie,
to
you hungry?"
I go back to participation trophy. They just thought, oh, well, we played, we're here. When we don't get free food.
It's insane to me.
Very
Yeah.
true.
It is true,
They were very excited.
and they are very excited.
What in this podcast do you guys think that we should break down into episodes? Because right now, it's the intro, and we're just bitching. Oh, obviously, bitching is the theme.
Bitching hour. The hour a la bitch. Yes.
But what? Like,
We need to have an entire episode based on superstitious shit that happens in the workplace.
you mean like ghosts?
Absolutely. I could do an entire episode on Fat City in Littleton, Colorado. Anybody who's worked there knows exactly what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
really?
Absolutely.
What's that about?
wait till you listen to the episode.
Oh, you're gonna make me wait.
Got to keep some of the mystery. I mean, absolutely. I'll tell you about it right now. It's cool.
I mean,
I'll go into it.
You could give me like a
right, cool.
synopsis.
Well, you
of
haven't
that.
heard of it? I haven't told you? I thought I told everybody about it. I told you, right?
I don't think so.
Nobody have told you it? Okay, so here we go. So anyway, so Fat City originally was called Funplex. And this was like early 90s. And when I started working, this was actually my first job outside of the paper route. I then worked at Fat City, which is like a family entertainment. It's kind of like a mini Boondocks or Spare Time, or I don't know what's around
Like,
these people's areas anyway.
Like a main event, like a
Exactly.
different version. Of
Yeah, it has
had
arcade bowling alley.
Right.
It had a skate rink. So when it was Fat City, which was like the cool time, the Fat City, it had a skate rink, a roller skating rink.
Okay.
And this young girl, she was roller skating. They didn't require helmets. They just gave you the skates and let you skate, you know. And they didn't sign waivers because this was before like all legal shit and whatever. And so she was skating. Yeah, this is before they were like, fuck.
I remember those days.
They're like, damn, we can get sued.
Back in the days where you're like, if they die, they die. Fuck it. It's
Exactly.
not my problem.
Well, it's
Back
like,
in the- back
But
in
it
the days-
was your problem.
You'd be at the grocery store and there'd be someone shopping for produce smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
They'd be walking to the grocery store
oh,
smoking
the
a cigarette.
days.
Yeah.
That was the.
days.
That reminds me of a better time. You know what I mean?
You know,
Yeah,
I love
wasn't-
my
you know
melon with
what?
the scent of smoke.
It was a lot. People had common sense.
Simply
People
didn't,
didn't
common
expect-
sense.
people
Common
didn't
sense is
expect
beyond.
free shit.
There's no more common sense.
Yeah, no more.
No.
But anyway, so this young girl,
They
I
don't
think.
even look. They don't even look before they cross the street. They expect cars to stop for them.
Yeah. I mean,
obviously.
technically.
Sad to say.
yeah.
But this young girl, I think her name was Jessica or Jennifer. I don't know. It could have been something different. But anyway, so she was skating and she slid backwards, hit the back of her head, died. So
Okay.
then they got sued. So then it just like, it continually would change hands. And by the time I got there, it was Fun City.
Okay.
It was Mr. Biggs before that. Mr. Biggs went out of business because they lost their liquor license because they were giving alcohol to minors, but also they brought the guy who owned Mr. Biggs also owned one of the titty bars in Colorado, and he was like, business is really slow. You know what would make it better? If strippers gave the alcohol in the bowling alley, and he literally got the strippers from his other club to come in and serve in their skimpy shit to everybody.
The
And literally-
original Twin Peaks, right?
yes.
So a bunch of drunk, horny guys trying to roller
Even
skate.
just kids, they would set down pitchers of beer and just hand out glasses, and that's why they lost their liquor license, because somebody over 21 would order it, but everybody with them wouldn't be 21, and they would just
Oh.
get tons of free alcohol. So they lost their liquor license. So of course, that business went to shit because they lost their liquor license, and then it became Fun City.
Right.
So they went on a huge hiring thing, and I lived maybe 500 feet from it. It was right on the intersection where I used to live, and so I started there, and I was like 15 or so, and I was just one of the extra hands or whatever. And they turned the skating rink because of the liability. They turned it into a go-kart because obviously that's safer. Let's put go-karts on a skating rink that has zero traction. It was
Right.
a drift rink. That's all
Right,
it was.
right.
It was these were
sounds
literally
tight, though.
it was dope.
Yeah.
I literally would just I'd be like, hey guys, I need to fix the track. And we would have a track and it would be like plastic blockades with tires in it, and I would just drift it and just smash into the blockade and just adjust the thing. I would just
Right.
do it because that was fun. Anyway,
There was wood floor.
no, this was roller skating. So it was the super slippery stuff, but you put go-karts on it because they're genius. Anyway,
Okay.
Anyway, it was dumb. So,
My rolling skating rink had wood floors.
Yeah, I always
all
picture.
right, well,
wood
this is
floors,
not the
but-
60s,
yeah.
my guy.
That was the 70s, fucker. That was the 70s, fucker.
Same, but different. Anyway, so the first week that I worked there, they're like, this place is haunted, right? I was
right.
okay, here we go. I'm the new guy. You know,
Yeah.
you just kind of yanking my chain, whatever. The place is haunted. I didn't
Yeah.
believe in any of that shit at
Right.
the time. I didn't believe any of that
Right.
shit. They're like, we're gonna do a seance. I was like,
Whoa.
I was like, word.
That escalated quickly.
Because that's what white people do apparently, is let's summon some demons.
Let's bring the fuckers out.
Yeah, they're
Dude,
like,
white people are crazy, man.
I 100%. I am white and I agree.
I'm
Dumb.
half white,
Dumb
and I
as-
know all about.
Super dumb.
Yeah.
Jorge can't relate. But anyway, so we did the quote unquote seance.
Right.
I'm French and Spaniard, so I got a little bit of white in me.
Not even close. Not even close to the
You're
Blanco.
reaching, dude. You're reaching.
Not even the Blanco we're talking about. But anyway, so we did this quote unquote seance with, I don't know if this will ever get to her, but her name was Jessica. She was the one who first got me to smoke weed, and somebody else. Nothing happened. I was like, you guys are full of shit. They're like, no, we swear. You got to talk to Arthur. Arthur was the manager. He tells me these wacky stories, which I can go off on another time. But he said a big giant, 10-foot tall black shape would go across the stage, because it was a stage, and then the roller skating rink, and they used to have people play on the stage while people roller skated. Anyway, so nobody ever went on the stage after that because nobody roller skated, and so then he was like, no. He's like, you guys did it way wrong. He's like, she's a super nice ghost. You just got to bring her a toy and you got to talk to her. So literally we had an arcade and I got a bouncy ball. And it was the first time we did it was like 3 people. The next time Arthur came with us and like performed the seance with like 6 people. And we all sat in a circle and we introduced ourselves similar to how we did at the beginning of this of, hey, my name's this and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, hey, we're just here to play. And it's kind of hard to illustrate this over the
We
mic.
have a
But
puppy
anyway,
and a cargo van.
Anyway,
in
so
the parking lot.
the skating rink was an oval. Skating rink was an oval, and then the go-kart arena had like a C in the middle, which was the barricade, and that's where all the tires were. And we sat in the middle of that C, and I had the bouncy ball. I was the one that had the bouncy ball, and he was like, go ahead and throw the bouncy ball. This was after we did the seance of, hey, this is who we are. We just want to play. We're just here to have fun. We don't want to, whatever. I threw the bouncy ball. It bounced off of the wall and then went behind the barricade and stopped. And we're like, hey, can you grab that ball for us? Next thing you know, the ball goes from a dead stop to literally spinning. And then instead of physics, where it would bounce off the barricade and come back, it did an arc where it went around the sea and stopped 2 feet in front of me. Right there. Just stopped. Dead stopped. Momentum, done. I was out of there faster than anybody could. Like, I was like, I'm not sticking around for any of this shit. This is how people die. I was like, I've seen the scary movies.
Yeah, that's
I'm
how
out of
horror
this
movies
bitch.
start. Yeah.
And
Don't be afraid of the dead. They're not going to hurt. They're not going to
right.
hurt you.
That was
They
the
can't
beginning.
hurt you.
That was the beginning.
Dude,
And
I
then-
mean, you're already killing it because you've invented an episode about haunted places we've worked. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, maybe you should cut it off, or maybe
Okay.
kind of, yeah.
The story goes on.
Okay.
This was,
I live
this
across
was-
the street from a cemetery, so my house is haunted, and we've after 20 years
We've
we
accepted
just
it.
grown
They're
to
our
accept
friends.
it.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
they're,
yeah,
they're,
I
they're,
had a lot of
they're
weird
peaceful.
experiences.
I mean, there's stuff cabinets open and closed. Even our dog now just looks up and she's like,
right.
Let me just say,
I was like-
so this bouncy ball that then stopped 2 feet in front of me and then I ran was the beginning of a one-sided friendship with me and the ghost, and shit got crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just
I
you
wanted
know,
no part of it, but she
and it
was
wasn't
about
just
it.
crazy Tony wearing his crystal talking about the ghost did.
Yeah, and God forbid turns off the open sign.
Yeah.
Tony.
Tony A.
Oh, yeah.
Old Tony
Yeah.
A forgetting to turn on the open sign. Blame it on a ghost and shit.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, I mentioned to Tony A that my house was haunted. She was like, "Well, let me come over with my friends." And it's like, no.
Tony A. He.
I don't want that shit to be stirred up. I don't want to stir anything up. We're happy the way it is. It's all good.
The Tony
It's
that
not-
when a customer compliments their jewelry goes, yeah, I bought it for the energy.
No. It was. Did she tell? Now it's getting weird because I don't know if Angel wants to be mentioned on the show or whatever. But anyways,
You mean on Julio?
anyways,
You mean
they
Angelo?
say they were like, yeah, I asked Tony about the necklace they were wearing, and they were like, yeah, this is to repel negative energy. And I was like, holy shit, if that was true, it would just fly off your fucking neck and travel across the world. It's just,
It'd be levitating an inch off your skin, girl.
I was about to say, does it see you in the mirror?
but yeah, I mean, we're gonna meet up probably once a month to talk about this. So haunted workplaces is a good one.
Yes.
That'd be a good episode.
Yeah.
Even though this isn't really a supernatural kind of.
Well, I mean,
Well,
it's themed bitching hour.
But
you know?
yeah, I mean, but I definitely love supernatural shit. But
It's
what
one of those
other?
things. I had zero belief in any of that. My brother used to
Really?
watch Ghost Hunter and
Yeah.
stuff, all that stuff, and I was like, dude, this is the most bullshit thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
No.
And then that happened to me. I'm like, yeah, there's
Oh,
some stuff.
I have some stories, but I've always believed. So I was always the kid that laid in bed and was like, I'm so scared right now because of some bullshit that I fucking watched or actually experienced. I mean, I never actually seen anything with my eyes, but there's some weird shit that's happened to me. So it was just I was very sleepless when I was a kid. So
Yeah, I always believed in UFOs, but I never believed in ghosts until I felt one touch on my shoulder, and that's
It's
my
true.
house.
Was
And
it
that's when
sensual?
happened.
It
Huh?
was it a sensual?
Was it
touch?
consensual?
I wish it was.
Consensual.
It was fucking freaky. That's what it was.
How freaky?
And then later on, we had a soccer ball kicked in our backyard that was just sitting there, and it was just kicked
Damn.
like 2.5 feet. And
Yikes.
But yeah, what other kind of sub episodes could we do? Because when it comes to service industry, I mean, we could,
Depends on the guest. I mean,
Yeah.
if we get people to come in on this, I mean, just whatever their experience is. I mean, maybe we get somebody who's in I don't know, because finance is my background. Maybe they get like a stockbroker who's like, "Yo, some people are some dumb motherfuckers.
I know.
Give me the money."
One of my
know.
friends, Corey, is like a chef, and he was
There you
talking
go.
about coming on. Or my friend Rabbit is a sushi chef. You know, he
Probably
wants
those
to
one
come
of those ones where it's like they
Yeah.
order medium rare and they send it back and they literally
Yeah.
just hold it for like 5 seconds and send it back out and they're like, perfect.
How about if you have an attorney that was your regular and you got into some legal trouble and he got you out of a bunch of legal trouble, like almost scot free.
Hey,
How about that?
is this personal?
I mean, this could be, you know,
Do you know this guy?
That's why I moved to Austin.
it'd be like, you know,
That's
you
why I
could
left El
talk
Paso and
about
came to Austin.
how I met someone at my service industry job who kept me out of jail.
And and I was told him, dude, one day you better fucking take care of me if I call you. He goes, I will. And that day happened. Unfortunately.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm trying to get
it's the only
like
time.
episodes about what, like an episode about shitty customers, an episode about shitty coworkers, an episode about, you know what I mean? It's got to be split out somehow. But I'm also very
How
bad
about
at
shitty
this.
owners?
As shitty owners.
Yes.
Yeah. I've had a beer bottle thrown at me by an owner.
Oh man.
There's always alpha male problems.
Yeah.
And I feel like our new, like a Brian is going to be, has those alpha male problems with me already.
Think so?
It's because you're very imposing, Jorge. I mean, look at you. You're just
Whatever, dude.
Terrifying to behold.
I
Yeah.
just go do my job.
I mean, sometimes the Waluigi,
I'm
the Waluigi
I'm a
look.
skinny little guy. That's all.
Well,
I
yeah.
just go to work and try to be happy and friendly.
just Google Waluigi, Jorge, and like
Waluigi is.
we'll just
I've-
play Mario Party
I've
with
said-
you, and you'll
I've
know
said
what
two
I'm talking
things.
about.
I said Jorge reminds me of Gomez Adams, which he was like, "Who's Gomez Adams?" I was like, "Bitch, you don't know fucking Gomez Adams. Come on."
I don't know, Gomez. Right?
I don't even know. But
From
also,
the Addams Family?
I am also white.
Yeah, from the Adams Family.
No.
Okay.
I
We'll-
grew up
we'll
I grew up
Google it.
overseas. I didn't
Okay.
know.
I know
I
that.
had Barney.
Who was Gomez Adams? Was that the grandfather?
No, he was the dad. He was the dad.
Oh, okay.
Morticia's husband.
Okay.
Here, I'll
okay.
look it
I
up.
mean, I know of that.
Okay.
I never watched it, but I know of that.
Waluigi. I said that.
100%.
And sometimes,
Waluigi.
and also whenever I tell you
100%.
jokes, sometimes you go, ha ha, and I'm like, Waluigi.
Waluigi. we played Mario Party the other night, and yeah, it was 100% Waluigi. Just the walk and everything. It's a mirror image. It's incredible.
I don't know. I worked at one bar where I worked at one bar that was a neighborhood bar, and there wouldn't be at least 2 or 3 times a week you'd walk out the back door because there was a back parking, and there'd be people just fucking in the car, fucking on the hood, fucking on the trunk, and sometimes we'd walk out there to empty trash, and they would look up and just wave to us, like, and just keep on
Mid pump.
I mean,
No,
that's like
seriously, keep on.
Thanks for the juice.
that's like almost like the mystery of table 16. You know what I mean? Like, why is it table 16?
Table
that every-
16 is the love making
It is.
table.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
just-
everybody
they
has
want-
to make out at that.
They
table.
want everyone to. They just want us to
Something
watch
about
it.
that,
They
something
want us
about
to.
that corner. They think that nobody can see them
know what?
just because they happen to be on a corner, and it's like you
No,
realize you're directly in front of a POS system.
Exhibitionism sometimes is it's a thing.
Next,
you know?
if it happens again, I'ma just full blown stare.
Oh, it happened
I'll
to
literally
me
just
yesterday.
I'll just stand there and just straight stare at them.
you
and
never
then
had sex in public?
yeah,
I've
I
never
lost
had sex,
my I lost my
sex
virginity.
like at a park in a car.
I lost
or-
my virginity on the side of the hill next to Fun City, which is against a road in between 2 pine trees. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I only once, but it was like, you know, outside. It was like off grounds of Warped Tour because me and this girl had nowhere to go, and then we found the little. Of course, Warped Tour is on a big,
Yeah. Yeah.
venue to where it's like open area. You know what I mean? Where they would have the state park be or the state fair and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a
but
big
yeah,
open
definitely made my way to like this huge like grassy knoll and like hooked up and
Wait,
then
is that where they shot JFK?
Also, where Mike
Yes,
boned
no.
this chick.
yeah and then
Was
the most,
that you that shot JFK with a
yeah,
load?
well, yes, it was actually. Yes, I had my scope on and
Or was
everything.
that's why it ricocheted. It went,
He paid
and then
his
it was, like,
memorial to
really
JFK by
stringy.
shooting his load in this woman.
I mean, the most discouraging part though was whenever we decided we were done because it was so hard to
yeah, it
handle.
Was. Yeah, it was hard.
And then there was a cop sitting there, like probably 100 feet away.
Did he give you a high five? It was like,
Yeah,
my
didn't-
man.
He didn't do
You all-
anything, but I'm pretty sure he was just like,
Really, guy?
like he was seriously sitting in his car. I know that for sure. So it was like,
Y'all never were like at parties and you just started fucking your a girl on a couch in
I
front
mean,
of
not
everybody?
like that.
In front of everybody?
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, we've
You
seen the pornos,
Freaking
but
dog. Holy shit. I mean, I've thought about it.
or like everyone's in a different room. You go to another room and you start fucking on the couch, and like, all of a
Me
sudden,
personally,
all
no,
of a
but
sudden there's like 4 people watching you.
Well, I've been at a party where like this guy had like a home gym in his basement, but it only had like glass door. Like it was like the patio doors that
So
like closed.
were you the spectator? Or
I
were you
was
the, were you the participant?
I was in another room. I did not. This is my buddy who told me this. I was in another room with 2 other women, not me personally, but they just happened to also be in the room while I was there. Anyway, and so then I come out and they're like, "Dude, you totally missed this dude and this girl just fucking right on the." This dude had a
And
bench.
they watched all this?
It was right on a bench, and
bench.
they closed these glass doors that had windows that literally you could see through, and thought that nobody could see them. And they just started to fucking bang. And this chick, I'm not gonna name her, but this chick I went to high school with was known for being very. She dated
Right.
she dated a high schooler in middle school
damn.
and was like very promiscuous. And like when it came out, I was like, it wasn't one of those like bullshit you lying to me. It was like, damn, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah,
She was the type.
she was the type. What about banging at work? Do you? I know. I mean, obviously, we know of some instances of people banging at work, but you know, like other than where we work now, do you have instances
I can't.
of banging at work?
I can't talk of mine.
I can't talk. Oh, yeah. Well, you can't talk about.
Well, not now.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
this was pre my current girlfriend.
Oh, right.
But-
Oh, because of that reason.
Why can't you talk
But
about
no,
that?
no, it's not because of her that I can't talk about it. It's literally because like I don't need that going around.
But what about other stories?
I
About
worked,
other
I worked,
people?
at, I
I mean,
worked
other
at one
people.
job where we had a parking lot that was like in the woods, so you could just kind of slip out and
Yeah.
go into the woods.
Right.
Yeah,
What,
just
where
kinda-
did you work that had the woods back
It was
in the
on.
back?
It was over on the lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You're just like, you can't
Yeah,
even
the
name
lake.
anywhere
We
that you
all
work.
know
Yeah.
that lake.
I'm like over here like Applebee's in Gainesville. I also work at
this
Chili's,
was,
and then you're
this
like,
was at,
oh.
This is on Lake Travis. This is on Lake Travis, and it was a real happening spot back in the '90s.
Right. Okay.
When y'all were still kids.
Swimming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
I wasn't
kids,
even
yeah.
born.
You were a kid.
93. I'm the baby. I
'93.
was born in 93.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
So
weren't
you,
late.
so you were
Late
you,
93.
You were a year old.
Yeah.
Year or two.
Fresh. In
Yeah.
my,
You were 3 years old when I quit working there.
Oh yeah, nice.
It
I mean,
flooded. I quit working.
I am enjoying this, and we're going to keep all this in, but we also have to talk about the service industry stuff for some reason. You know what I mean?
This
To
is
connect
service
it.
industry.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is along the lines of bitching.
this
over.
is
Right.
like-
It is.
this
It
is
is.
like-
It's true.
This is
What
the serving
happens in
industry.
service
Yeah,
industry?
it's all about.
Yeah.
when you're young.
I mean, we could go on. I mean,
When you're young.
God, if
it's
this
what happens in
was,
service industry. You get
If we
excited by
all-
someone, you go and you.
And you fuck them.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we all like left where we currently work,
Yeah.
like we could talk about the shenanigans that has happened with everything that's happening. Like
Right.
just all of it.
Well,
is-
that was before all my time, but
That's
yeah,
and that's
I mean, even
crazy.
then, but like,
But that's kind of like
just the
why
current dynamic is absurd.
Like,
it's a movie plot.
it's true.
It is.
It is. Everything
It's
that
just
we work
ridiculous.
with at all times is just like, oh my god.
Well, just
what's
how we got to
going
where
on?
we're at.
Nasty things happen at work, and sometimes you're
And that's the
fucking.
lot of
I
nasty
mean, that's
things
how it was
happen
at
work.
blown away.
White Fence Farm. Like literally, I got hired there, and they're like, "This is high school." I was
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "This is high school." I was like, "Pretty much everybody fucks everybody,
Yeah.
and there's bullshit and there's drama." I was like, "Okay, sure, 100%." The service industry is like a mini version of high school. Like here
Yeah.
at where we work,
Sure.
there's
Yeah.
only let's say
It's your
12.
clique.
Let's say there's 12 people, probably
The clique.
that work there.
Yeah.
At White Fence Farm, there was 40.
Right.
40 people, and it was all just drama.
I mean, you know, it's still comparable with us
When I,
because,
when,
like,
I
you know,
worked, when I worked on the lake, there were like 70 between all the hostesses, barbacks, bartenders, servers. There were like
Ooh, speaking
there were
of
like
hostesses, I got
80,
a good
at least like 80 people that worked. And on a Friday, Saturday night, or Friday, Saturdays, there was like 55 people on shift.
Damn.
'Cause it was that big of a place, and it was that crazy.
Speaking
And
speaking
the
of
hostesses were like little young 17, 16-year-old girls. That,
Yep.
oh, they were so naive and dumb. We used to go out there and dump water on them every day.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, am I the only one that like worked with really promiscuous hostesses?
No,
oh no, not at
that's,
all.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so there's this one that worked at White Fence Farm who wore body condoms, like literally like skin tight suits. And she was, I don't know, fucking 16, and I was 18 or whatever. And she was overtly flirting with me on her first day, overtly flirting. And I was
Right.
like, thanks, but like, I'm not interested, you know? Like,
Right.
I'm not trying to go to jail.
Yeah.
And so, which like, it was within, anyway. So she came up to me after the first shift, and she was like, hey, so can I get your number?
Right.
So I took out a piece of paper and I wrote 3 numbers on there and handed it to her. I wrote 911, and she looked at me with this dumbfounded face, and I was like, "That's where I'm gonna go if I talk to you." And she was like, "Huh?" And then the funny thing is, so like after that, I went and I did my thing. She didn't really talk to me. Like we talked,
Yeah.
but like she didn't like flirt with me after
Right.
that. She flirted with my buddy who was also 18, and he started to brag to me about how she was hitting on him and how he got her number and everything. And I was like, "Have fun." I was like, "Yeah,
Dude.
sure." I was
How
like,
old are you?
at the time I was 18,
How do you know?
27.
So whenever I
You're
work,
past that whole statutory.
whenever I
Well,
work,
at the time, like I said, it was within the realm.
I'm joking.
At the time I could have, but like it was the whole like I'm 18, she's 16. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
really want to do it.
Yeah, that's-
She was
that's
also
super
like,
weird, yeah.
she seemed pretty promiscuous, and like I just don't like that kind of girl. So it was,
yeah, especially whenever it's like you work together and it's like the first day. You know,
it was
but-
literally day one. She
Yeah.
asked for my number,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is not going out right.
I have a story, but it's not like a promiscuous story. It's about my friend Ross. His little sister worked where I worked at Applebee's at one point in time, and she wasn't the smartest person. My buddy Ross is not the smartest person, but he's like
Got a good heart.
He's book smart, but common sense smart's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure at one point when I knew him, he was telling us to go to one of his friend's house, and he was like, "Turn left on Low Cust," and we're like, "You mean locust?" And he was like, "No, I'm pretty sure it's like Low Cust, like 2 words, Low Cust." And we're like, "No, it's not. It's definitely locust." But anyways, like this girl was definitely not the smartest person I knew. But anyways, one time she was a host and she was younger, and at one point she said to me, Mac, aren't you Chinese?"
Oh my god.
And I was like, well, no, I'm not Chinese. I'm half Thai, and Thailand, is a country in Asia. So like, I don't know, like I guess you could say I'm Asian. And she was like, "So you're Asian?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay, so are you Chinese then?"
Oh my god.
And I was like, "No. What grade are you in?" She proceeded to tell me that she was a sophomore in high school. Okay. And I said, "Okay, so wait, let me explain to you. You're a sophomore in high school. This is easy. This is easy stuff. Thailand is a country in Asia, a continent. Okay? Do you know what those are?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think."
Oh my god.
And I was like, "Okay, so you could say that I'm Asian, but I'm not
same thing.
Chinese because that would be China, the country."
You're like saying we're Mexican,
And she was like,
even though we're
"Are you Chinese or not?" And I was like, "Oh no!" So that's a pretty interesting story about how a sophomore in high school did not know the difference between a country and
the American
a
education
continent
system.
So, did you have sex with her or not?
Yeah. Where was the
No.
air course?
No, I definitely didn't. But that was a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely understand. Because even now to this day, there's 40, 50-year-old people that someone from Honduras, they're like, well, they're Mexican. No, they're from Honduras, but they speak Spanish.
So they're Mexican.
So they're Mexican.
But most of the time, it's
absurd.
like white folks that are like that absurd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Freaking whiteies.
Yeah.
Whiteys.
Fucking white people.
Freaking white.
We have this theory
Freaking
that
Karens.
most trouble is white people nowadays. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like especially in the
Karens.
service industry.
He comes in and mows our grass, and his name's Manuel, and he's from Honduras. He's Mexican.
It adds up.
It does. But yeah, white
mean-
folks.
I mean, and that's kind of crazy that she thought that you were like, she asked that you were Chinese because I thought that you were Mexican, like,
Right.
for the longest time.
Well,
until you told me you're like, I'm half
she
Thai.
knew my friends, and they knew that I would be like, because we knew so many Mikes that there was always nicknames involved. So they would sometimes they would be like Asian Mike, yo, Asian Mike, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it would be like she knew that I was like Asian Mike, and then she would literally
That's
was like,
outrageous.
"Are you Chinese?" You know?
Asian Mike.
So
outrageous.
yeah, which is insane, and it made me question the Gainesville, Texas school system.
Yes, I would. How did she
And
make
more.
it to a sophomore?
And then it made me question like the hiring system for Applebee's.
Did they-
You know what I mean?
yeah. She was a hostess. There is no hiring system.
Right, yeah,
Literally,
exactly.
I think every hostess, if you're a hostess currently,
Yeah.
This is
Well, that's what
Right.
that's what their parents taught them. If they're Chinese, they're you know.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, Chinese.
If
Yeah.
they're Asian, they're Chinese.
Chinese.
You
Chinese.
And back
Yeah.
in the 80s, I thought that, you know, when I was growing up. But once I moved to Austin, got a little bit more cultured, I
And then
realized
the internet was created, and he could actually search some stuff.
No, that was,
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
that was before the internet,
Yeah.
bro. That was
When
before
we
the
got
internet.
newspapers.
It's culture. You know,
Right.
Americans are the only people that expect everyone to know English. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, even though most
there's-
countries know English, you know what I
Well,
mean?
that's
Like,
because a
but-
lot of them do business with America.
Right.
I mean,
'cause we buy
less
everything.
than 10% of Americans know more than one language.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And
Agreed.
they want everyone to know English.
I-
I'm not trying to get them.
I should have stuck with Spanish. I did 3 years of Spanish in high school. Got
Yeah.
A's in all of it. I could read it and write it fantastic. Speaking it,
No.
not too great. I'm not quick enough with it. I got to think
But you
about
could
it. and then do
still, you could still kind of,
it. If I saw something, I could probably figure it out.
right.
But yeah, I was a lot better in high school. I wish I would have stuck with it. I could be making some big bucks right now.
All right.
Speaking Spanish.
So let.
Speaking Spanish. You could be
no,
banking.
No, we gotta.
You could be at a Tejano bar with all the Mexican women.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. So
They'll be,
lo and
they'll
behold,
be going, Meech.
well, that's so funny. That's actually kind of funny because like one of the other managers, her name was Lizette, and she was super nice. She went by Denora, but she was super nice. And I helped out at her branch, and she was like, Mish. And I told her, I was like, this is when I was a teller, and I was like, I'm trying to be a manager. She was like, oh, Mish, you're gonna get there so good. Like, you work real hard, you're gonna do great, Mish. And then like
Right.
every time I would call her, she's like, oh, Mish, how are you? It's like there's a
Yeah.
T in there.
Yeah, if my mom met you, she'd be going, Meech.
Mish. Yeah, it's funny.
I mean,
it's
it's like I've told you the stories. My mom is Thai, and she can't even get my fucking fiance's name right. So it's like, you know, there's times where you're
because
just like,
you have so many.
I give up.
fiancés.
I give up. I can't even say Jenna. You're like, she's like, Janet.
Just have her
Janet.
cut her losses. Just call her Jay.
Jay.
You know, just say Jay.
Just
You know,
yeah,
just
call
be
her
like, you know what,
J-Lo.
Mom? If you're not
But-
gonna remember it, just remember the letter.
I actually gave her the name Janet because I was like, yeah, that's like totally after you get your doctorate, you're gonna be like a Janet, girl, you know, wearing your little, your like suit jacket and stuff, and you know,
Janet.
Janet. But you know, speaking of the Hispanics, like you were saying, but that sounds racist.
You people.
But anyways, so I always tell this story about when I worked at Applebee's in Gainesville. There was, you know, the kitchen was mainly Hispanic, of
course.
and there were times where I was like, you know, hey, could you get me this? Hey, I rang in medium rare. It's supposed to be, you know, like medium, or you know, things like that. And you would tell them like, hey, can I get that? And they'd go, dude, why don't you learn how to ring it in right?
Yep.
Hey, learn how to fucking ring it in right. We're cooking it how the ticket says, you know, or like you do the wrong side or something. Hey, can I get can I get some fries out to the table really fast? You know, like just
On
saying,
the fly.
I'm trying to fix it before you even throw it on.
Yep.
Like, yo, dog. Well, the ticket says some other fucking shit.
I know,
You
they
know what I
were
mean?
by the book.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
the book. Fucking being assholes all the time. And then
'Cause they could.
I eventually was just like, man, fuck all of these motherfuckers, right? I quit. I go and do my thing at another place. I end up coming back 3 years later, just as like an in-between job. I'm like, yo, you know, things are going down. I need a job. Would you be willing? Sure, come back. Same people. Literally the same people.
Kitchen crew doesn't change.
Right. But instead of being like 19 to 21 year olds, you know, they're a little bit older, you know, they're like 24 to like 27 or whatever. Like, and they, you know, they've been going through life and they have like kids and wives and shit now. And then shit you not, I worked there for like 3 or 4 months and all of them were like, oh shit, I didn't know you were working today, dog. What's up? Hey dog, I'm glad you working today. One of the dudes ends up like, you know, he ends up getting deported, but then he hits me up and he's like, hey man, can I get you to write a letter of recommendation for me? You know, I'm trying to get back to the
Should've rung it
country.
in
And I'm just
correctly.
like, I should have rang it. They're like, well, you're gonna have to fucking let me know because I think I rang in the wrong person.
Yeah.
And I
I
gave the
rang
wrong
him.
recommendation.
One of the other serving places that I worked at was an Italian restaurant, and all of the kitchen crew was Mexican.
Right.
And like they were cool, like they were really hard workers.
Yeah.
They worked a bunch of hours, so like
Right.
nothing against that. It was just really funny because all of them were very short.
Right.
They were very short
Yeah.
people. And the
But
thing
the
is, so like
food came out fast, and it came out pretty quick.
Yeah. Maybe not.
I mean,
That was Colorado. Those are
so
Colorado
it was
Mexicans.
it was very by the book. So like just like he said. So like anyway, so they would have the tickets, but they would put the tickets up like above to where like they knew what
Right,
order
right,
they were
right.
in.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
no,
that's
I
how
know
you
what you
knew
mean.
like which one,
Yeah,
kind of like one of
exactly.
those old Rolodex
Yeah.
things that they had in diner. Anyway. They were too short to reach that. So the way for them to get the tickets up onto this thing was to use tongs. So each individual had their own specific set of tongs that they would use to do everything.
Damn.
And it was literally like all you heard was clicking tongs all the time. And it's like, hey, can I get this? They would grab it with the tongs and move it over, and grab it with the tongs and move it over.
Dude,
But like literally, so like,
How'd they step into with a tongs?
but the thing is, so like whenever we would order food, they would put out, so you couldn't take your food. So they would set it in an Italian place, like they have the kitchen exposed to the whole restaurant, and they would set the food, and then you would have to wait to grab it until they set the ticket down. And instead of setting the ticket down as each one's completed, so that way each server could take their stuff, they did 10 at a time. So literally, like if I rang in one entree, if it was literally baked ziti, and I had one baked ziti, I'm literally looking at the baked ziti in front of me. I could not take that until they set the ticket down, and they wouldn't set the ticket down until they had an entire row. And they did it on purpose because I literally saw them do it. They would take 10 of them, put them together, and throw them down. They wouldn't even put them near the food.
Yeah.
And just watch the servers like fight over like, no, this one's there, this one's there. They just got humor out of it. So it was like there was this.
I think it's because y'all were white.
There was animosity. Yeah, there was animosity
Yeah.
between the kitchen and the servers
Yeah.
because the servers would literally stand there and wait for their food, and they're literally looking at the food ready to go, but they couldn't grab it because the tickets were still up there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once they set down the tickets, they just literally sat back and like crossed their arms, and they were like,
Yeah, it was.
"Look at these fucking whiteys just fighting over the food. Fight for
Look at
me,
these bolillos.
like fight for me, you
Did they ever call you
minions."
bolillo?
I don't even know what that means.
It's white bread. Like the white rolls you get
The
at
Wonder
H-E-B.
Bread. It might have
Right.
been.
For
yeah.
all you white people listening, if ever they call you bolillo, it's just the white bread that they have at HEB.
AKA
yeah.
a hate
People say
word.
that.
AKA a hate word. Take
Yeah.
offense. I'm just kidding.
Did I mean?
And
you
for all
know.
you white
I think it's
people,
funny.
if you want a good fence, call them pan quemado, which means burnt bread. That's why they're dark. Just
That's
trying
where
to
you
be
just-
PC. So
Race
Right.
war started.
there you go. Race war.
Dude,
I'm
I don't
starting.
even,
it.
you know,
right
like
here.
all these motherfuckers want to like deport all of our friends that we've worked with our lives. You know what I mean?
Hard workers, man.
I've
shit,
never
right?
had problem with people in the kitchen. I've always got
Well,
along.
I mean, we
That's
know
because
why.
now, even with
you're
white
one of the
people.
people. At the
Yeah,
kitchen.
yeah.
Even white people. Okay?
It's because you are one of the people.
Well, no, I've never had problem. But I mean, even white people have problem in the
Right.
kitchen.
There's always like one white guy though that's like back there too, and he's just like, you know,
No, it's because most
he has to
most-
go along
most,
with the
most
shit.
servers, most people that work in service in front of the house, they're kind of rude and mean to the kitchen.
Right.
I'm always not. I tried to be
try to
nice.
be
I tried to be nice.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
gave me a reason not to be, but
I mean, yeah.
for the most part, I try to be nice.
Yeah. Especially when they're like, you know, like, oh, like,
When
hey,
the young
before,
Mexican
hey,
guys,
I
they're like-
rang this up wrong. Let's just try and fix it first. Yeah, fuck you.
Well, before they even make
But
it,
those,
like
but those young
if
Mexican
you're-
guys with a white waitress, they'll be fucking. They'll help her whatever
yeah.
she
Of course,
needs.
you
and
gotta
they'll
set
be
it.
all
Yeah,
over.
you
got
gotta
a set
shit,
of jugs, you can get with whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
But
shit,
like literally,
right.
if you get back there and tell them, "Hey, I messed up. Can we do this instead?" and they haven't even started the food, why is it an issue? Like, why are we even talking? Like,
It
I
shouldn't be.
caught you before you started. Like, we
Right.
can make the adjustment. But like, I granted, if it's like ready, like they're literally have it in their hand, they're about to walk it out, and you're like, "Hey, I fucked up. Like, I need this changed." I can understand why you'd be mad.
Right.
But if I go back and be like, "Yo, I literally rang this in 10 seconds ago and I
Yeah.
fucked up," they'd be like, and if they're still mad about it, it's like, well, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
I did my part.
I worked at Texas Land and Cattle for a while, and it was like I was actually really surprised because when I started working there, of course, when you work at a serving job, you're just like, man, what the hell is the side work gonna be? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you
Rolling
think
silverware is the
you're-
worst fucking thing in the world.
Well, I mean, not even. There's
Agreed.
times where,
Gross.
like, you know, like the back of house shit too is like, do I have to shred a bunch of fucking carrots before I leave or some shit? You know what I mean? Like, just something stupid that's time consuming. But at Texas Land and Cattle, they were like, all right, so here's your closing stuff. You sweep up your area, your section. And then you replace all the salt and pepper if it needs to. You know, if it needs to be
If
filled
there's
up.
a window,
And
don't
your-
leave any
yeah.
type of window.
Your napkins, fill them up, and that's it. And I'd be like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? They're like,
you're
yeah,
shitting me.
that's it. And like, what about back of house? And they're like, oh, the kitchen does all of our back of house stuff. And I was like, oh shit, man, I've never worked at a
So
place
how
where
much
we
is
like.
my tip out to the kitchen?
I think it was only like 5% or something like that.
That is
you
the
know?
beauty of having like
Yeah.
at White House Farm having like 50 people on staff.
Yeah.
Is side work there's enough
Yeah.
side work to go around.
Yeah.
But like if you work at a place where there's like 10 people,
Yeah.
you gotta take some shit.
And then you have to roll fucking thousands of silverware. or
I
some
literally
shit.
I gave up. I had rolled silverware at the Italian restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody knew when I rolled silverware. They literally would pick up a basket of silverware and be like, "These are Mitch's." They knew, and I told them
Why?
I was like, they're rolled because they weren't like fucking saran wrap tight. Like literally, like people would roll silverware to where like it was you had to like have muscles to like pull it
Oh,
out.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
right,
I
roll.
know what you
And
mean.
I was
Put that
like,
wrapper
I
on
just
it?
fucking
Yeah.
like put it in, roll it up, and set it in there. Like
Yeah.
it was literally one of those like ready to roll. And I literally would look at people. I'm like, guys. They're getting a napkin and the silverware's rolled. It doesn't need
Yeah.
to be tight as fuck.
Like if it was a joint, it wouldn't hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you'd be like,
literally, you'd have to pat.
Did y'all put
Yeah,
that? Did y'all
it's
put
literally
that
like-
wrap around that?
like a
Wrap-
20
wrap
time-
around the silverware?
Well, no, we did so you would do you'd turn it into a big triangle.
Yeah.
You'd fold it in half, big
Yeah.
triangle, and then you put silver in the middle, and then you go one side,
Yeah.
and then roll it up.
Okay.
But then everybody else would tuck the end in, so that way it'd be tight. I didn't do that shit.
Right.
I was just like, nah. Because like you take all the silver and just set it on top of the plate, so like nobody ever complained. The only people that complained about my silverware were the people that work there, and they're like, it's not tight, it's not secure. I'm like, it's silverware rolled up in a napkin. What do you want from me?
yeah,
I just didn't give a shit because it was like, I'm not rolling 500 silverware and tucking each and every one of them.
right.
bullshit.
And also, you know, that reminds me
done that.
too. Like if you've never watched the movie Waiting, that like is a total, you know,
Yep.
accurate representation of
Yeah,
what fucking
it's-
happens in
Yeah,
restaurants.
that's not that much anymore that I see. But
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
for the most part,
back
it
when I
gives you
first
a-
started the business, there was a lot of
yeah,
There's a lot of nut
yeah.
sacks.
there's-
No, there was it wasn't nuts. Shit would
dude,
fall on the floor. They pick
I-
it back up, put it on there. It's like, really, dude? I'm not gonna take this out.
It's for the health code.
I remember certain people like, and it wasn't even like they knew it was like fucked up to do certain things. So it was like they would make up these things that only pleased themselves to fuck with people, and like the people wouldn't know. So it would be like, so I had a buddy named Justin Wilhoit. I don't even know if he works in service industry anymore. We're just gonna leave that in or whatever. But he would be like, yo, because he was the biggest shenanigans dealer there. Like, you know what I mean? It would
Yeah.
just be like funky, weird stuff always on shift with that guy. But he would like, a table would piss him off, and he would look at us and just be like, this isn't gonna affect them. This is for me. And he would be like, and he'd pull his dick out, and it would be out underneath his apron. And then he would go serve tables like that.
Oh my
So it would be like
What an animal.
dick out underneath his apron, and then it would just be like, "What does that do, though?"
What an animal.
And
That
he
was
would be
his
like,
fetish.
"He'd be like,
He said
it's
it-
just for me, man."
I was about to say it's for him. Yeah, he just feels great about it. What an animal, dude!
right? But
Fucking
still,
legend of the industry, right there.
It's
Yeah,
not even
I
that
don't know about
bad.
that.
You know what I mean?
Wear an
That's not-
untucked shirt with
that's-
a cock out.
That's
Going
not-
to a job interview, full wood.
But that's not even the worst that could happen to a customer. You know what I mean? Like,
I think legend of the bar is when you're banging waitresses on the top of the bar at the end of the night.
All right, Robbie.
Rob, fucking Robbie.
Fucking
Robbie. I don't know who the fuck Robbie is.
You know who Robbie is, son.
We all know who Robbie is. Everybody knows who Robbie is.
But yeah, and I have a couple of friends that like that's how they got together. It was like, oh,
Happily
we
ever
worked
after.
together and we closed, and then we had sex under table 15, and then
Under?
and then they're
On
married.
top of, on the pool table,
Just
in
do
the
it.
kitchen,
Just do it in the office.
back in the office,
Yeah, just do it in the office.
yeah, on top of the bar.
at our
Toilet
Applebee's
bathroom.
table
On
15
the bar
was
cooler.
the corner. So it was like the all the way around like table. You know, you could sit like a huge. So then under the table was like a fucking fort. You know what I mean? Like a little. You could crawl in there and fucking.
That way they can hide from Jesus.
Yeah, maybe that was their thing. You know what I mean? They were like, "Yeah, what do you want to go do in the fort?" You know what I mean? Reminds me when I banged someone as a kid.
I never got laid. I never got laid in any of my forts. I was hanging out with guys in my forts. I never got laid in my forts.
You were banging guys in your fort.
No, I never got banged in my forts.
Over the pants action.
No, it was in my garage on the spare couch, and my mom catching me, or
Oh.
yeah, next door neighbor's house.
She high five you
Go
mid stroke.
back- No, my
go,
mom
Ray.
was not happy. She was not happy.
My poor baby.
I'm gonna edit this the best I can to make it presentable. You know, we've went off on some tangents about
we did.
some things, but
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna work on how we could break this
Hey,
down.
we already told you we're virgins, so you know we don't know the guidelines.
Yeah, that's true. These guys have never done a podcast before. I only have one podcast, but like I get like emails that say, you know, when you guys go off the rails, that's my favorite episodes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's just like our platform over there is just like talk about the nerdy shit we watch, talk about the nerdy shit we do, talk about band albums and stuff like that. And then we have like touring musicians on to talk about their nerdy favorite things. And then we just rant about, you know, like what we did on tour, how we met and all that crap. But, you know, it's fun for people to hear what they like that's nerdy as a musician that's touring, you know, or
And
whatever.
also, we've all had those consensual sexes when we were teenagers. that were just good times when we were all teenagers, you know? We're just good
But yeah,
times.
but
Hormones.
But for this podcast, it seems like we, you know, like I said, we're gonna have to try
Turn
and,
from the bitching hour to the fucking hour.
but we're gonna have to try and break it down episodically on like how we're gonna do it episode to episode. You know, like you mentioned, like a haunting. That's like most places you work. You hear about these stupid stories where, you know, it's haunted. The place we work now, there's all these.
Yeah, the
supposed
closet
stories.
That upstairs closet. Oh, you're gonna go in the back closet? It's like, what the fuck's the deal? with
Supposedly.
the
Yeah,
back
that
closet?
shit over there.
I haven't seen anything. I don't want to see anything. But
Right. And then, you know, that I mean, I guess that if we start working on notes, you know, for like places we worked that we thought were haunted or stories from that could be an episode. But, you know, mainly we need to break down like in our notes things like shitty coworkers. Let's make it a whole episode.
Yeah.
We come up with our nicknames for the innocent. And then, you
Or
know,
guilty.
things like that. Or the guilty.
Yes.
And then, you know, things like that. Or, you know, I'm sure if we started taking notes, we could come up with a whole episode about like the dumbest shit customers says. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because we could probably talk all day.
wait
about
for a
that
Friday,
shit.
you'll get like 5 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like that fucking video with that dude that worked at IKEA. Where he,
Oh,
where he posts
yeah.
the thing. And
Halfway through a 2-week notice, I don't give a fuck.
yeah. Yeah. He's like, you just lost a customer. Oh,
You think I own this business?
yeah, you think I own this? No. Halfway through a 2-week notice, and I'm
don't give
fucking.
Well,
Yeah.
that was one of our employees for a little bit, right? I mean, his buddy was saying, "Oh, he's just waiting to get fired. He's trying to get
Oh
fired."
yeah, he's just trying to. Get
That's our
fired.
current
Yeah.
employee, yeah.
Yeah.
That's their job.
That's
yeah.
always
They're
fucking
literally
stupid, though.
Trying.
Yeah.
Like you know, people say stupid shit like that in a business, and it's always gonna offend the people that are like, "Dude, I'm here to make fucking money.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get fired, dude, tell me because we can make it happen,
Yeah,
and we
means
can
you're-
make more
It
money
means
when
you're,
you're gone."
it means you're actively trying to make my job harder.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it depends on who we get in. So I mean, we
Right.
can always just, depending on who we get as a guest, quote unquote,
Right.
whatever their experiences could take us off on a tangent. So I
Right.
mean, each
It-
episode,
Definitely.
whoever we get,
Honestly, I can't wait to have Bryson because you know,
incredible.
like
That
his
man, being a young homosexual individual, has probably heard and seen some crazy things.
Yes, and he also
cannot-
says the most ridiculous
He does
things
indeed.
in front of customers without a fuck.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
Because he can. He can. He can. You know?
Yeah.
Now, true.
But yeah, I that's like one of my favorite stories of the past like month.
That was
but, you know,
hilarious.
maybe we should just let him tell it, you know, or at least have him in on it, you know, just to tell that one. But
Well, I'm kind of thinking that if we have like lots of politically correct people, that maybe they shouldn't listen to this podcast because we might offend
that's-
some people.
Yeah, we're
you know.
I mean,
there's times where it's like, you know, hey, I'm not talking bad about Hispanic people or Mexican people, but like they definitely work in the kitchen a lot at fucking restaurants I've
Of
worked
course
at,
they
you
do.
know.
And
So-
that's when
yeah.
the food comes out correctly and it comes out fast.
Yeah, exactly. That's, yeah, no shit. And you know, like I said, it's like
You know,
whenever.
and if I say, you know, there were 4 people there working, and 3 of them were Mexicans, or 2 of them were Mexicans working, the other 2 were white people watching, then that's not off either, right?
Sounds about right.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's about what happens.
And every time we get into this debate in this country about fucking deporting people that don't belong here, I'm like, dude, those are my homies, and how the fuck is this restaurant gonna work without them?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and how are houses going to get built and yards mowed, and how, I mean, you're the ones hiring these people, so
Yeah.
don't deport them, because then you're going to be paying top dollar instead
Right.
of paying minimum dollar for these people.
And
Me
you know,
being the token white man here
yeah.
is in agreement that a lot of white people are what's wrong with the service industry.
Yeah, I mean,
As far as coming in and just expecting
Yeah.
to be like fucking served.
Yes.
It's like,
Right.
how about you have some respect for the people that fucking, especially the people who like, I went to college, I know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
It's like, well,
you only
I'm-
had one job, man.
Yeah,
Pretentious, pretentious fuckers.
Well, like the Squatch Man that
Yeah.
comes in and
Oh, yeah,
like,
the Squatch
the
Man.
whole, we could have a whole episode of how people fucking come in and talk like they know what's on, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, this is
Yeah,
not even
especially
close. It's not even
you know,
close.
when you work in craft beer. There's like 1,000 names.
Just
for
call it by the
everything.
brewery. What the name you see
yeah.
in front of you, say. Don't give it a nickname.
It's like, for one, your brewery already has like a 3-word, 4 name. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And
my
then,
thing is point it to it on the menu, and
Yeah.
I will tell you. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, can I get the Bigfoot?
yeah,
We don't have a Bigfoot on there. We have a Lucky Squatch.
yeah.
Like, no, I want the Bigfoot. Like, you mean the Lucky Squatch?
He said Sasquatch.
Yeah, no. This was just an example of
Right,
like
right.
of like something in the realm.
Yeah, but
and
like-
it's like, don't give it a nickname. Just point to it on the menu.
Yeah, you say Sasquatch, and guess how many, like, Google craft beer Sasquatch. Guess how many fucking things are gonna pop
Oh,
up?
you're
There's
gonna
gonna
get a
be like
billion.
7
You're gonna
to
get a billion
10, like, you
You
know what I
get
mean?
20 of them based in Colorado. The
Right,
other 20
exactly.
in Oregon.
Yeah.
Customers come in, they say, "What's your favorite what's your favorite beer to drink?" I say, "It's in a can. It's Bud Light and Espolòn."
That is true.
Yeah.
Jorge's a man of simple
Yeah.
pleasures.
For
I
sure.
mean, you
Likes-
heard me say that. I
Yeah,
mean, you're
yes,
like, you're like,
multiple times.
mine
For
is
sure.
my. I
That
drink,
even me
Bud
who
Light,
knows,
I can.
even us who knows the beer. Whenever they're like, "What's your favorite beer?" It's like, well, what type of beer do you like?
Yeah.
I have favorites in
Exactly.
each
Yeah.
category.
What's the best beer here? It's like, well, what I think is the best. You probably won't think of the best because I drink Bud Light
We have
in a can.
we have 60
So,
beers on tap.
Yeah.
There's
I
not
mean,
a favorite.
That's why there's make 31 flavors of ice cream.
It's
So,
like you could subcategorize cars, and it still makes more sense.
Yeah, what's
than
your favorite
beers.
car?
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like there's way less models of car from the beginning of time than beer at this point. You know what I mean? So
And when people walk in, they're like, "Do you have a Absolute? Do you have this?" It's like, no, we're a beer snob bar.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Oh,
a,
yeah.
we're a beer snob
can I
bar.
get
We're
Kettle
not a liquor
One?
bar. You've heard me say that, right? I've
Yeah.
heard that. I've said that.
Yeah.
We're a beer
Oh, no.
snob bar. We're not a liquor bar.
Oh, that's like my favorite thing is to be like, hey, have you been here before? No. Well, I want to tell you right now, we're a craft beer bar. We focus on the drafts. And and then they're like, what about liquor?
I want to have the cojones to have somebody be like, "Can I get a Kettle One on the rocks?" and give them a Tito's and have them be like, "It's delicious."
Oh, I'm gonna
Be like, "It's
I'm gonna
Tito's,
be
motherfucker."
completely honest.
Literally walk up and be like, "Haha."
I'm going to be completely
Surprise.
honest. There has been at least twice since I work where we work where someone goes, I can't do Espolòn. I want the Blanco. And then, or Don Julio Blanco. So I go and grab the bottle, and then some more tickets pop up. People start asking me questions, blah, 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 blah.
You pour an Espolòn?
And I totally pour Espolòn. One time, even for a big party, so like 15 of them, because I was totally in the middle of the
Espolòn
shit.
is better.
And guess what? Nobody said shit.
No
Like
one even
nobody
realized it.
even cared. You know what I mean? And
I
it's
no
just
one
like
realized it.
yeah. So
I mean, even tonight we ran out of Espolòn halfway through the night, and I made 5 margaritas and literally 7 shots with
That
Jose.
Dolce Vita. Dolce Vita.
Dos Vita. I literally made 7 shots with that,
yeah,
and they thought it was Espolòn.
yeah.
It's like, well, we ran out of it 2 hours ago, so
Yeah.
sorry.
So all of so everybody that's listening, you know how it goes. Fucking picky ass motherfuckers.
Service industry, man.
Service industry. That's how it goes. It's a bunch of hooligans treating like fancy people like they're special. You know what I mean?
And then you get the occasional service industry who comes in and actually treats you like, hey man,
Right.
we get it.
Yeah.
But
Or
the,
people that used to work service industry
the
and they're like,
60
hey,
to
we get it. you
60
know?
to 70% of people that come in that have never worked service industry and are total fucking snobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And we're working now. Half of our people that come in, they're overextended. They live in a big house. Credit,
Yeah.
credit. So
Yeah.
they don't have that much money to spend going out and stuff. But
Right.
They're just overextended. That's the white person way.
So, but yeah, we're gonna work on it. I think it was a good first episode to
Yeah.
intro and
We'll see
hear
what
us bitch about how shitty people are.
The bitching hour.
But as of right now, we don't have like an email or anything, so you could hit me up at my personal email at ihateghosts@yahoo.com, and you could give us some suggestions, give us some comments on whatever you want to hear.
And come by every craft bar in the Round Rock, Austin area and try to find out where we work.
Figure out who these
Figure it
people
out.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's awfully hard not to talk about specifically where we work and name specific names, but
Yeah.
you know how it goes. If you start talking shit about everyone you work with and the place where you work publicly, it will get back to them. So I like where I work now.
Or you can kind of
So-
say it to their face and they'll hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like-
so shout out all those nicknames we
Yeah.
gave. All right, guys. Well, see you later.
Like the one that he's got a personality.
All right, say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Later.